When we're talking about scarcity, what are we going to default to? To what we know. When we're talking scarcity, we are very scared of new things. We're still talking about anxiety. So how do we get out of the anxiety mindset? It's really the challenge I believe we're up for. How do we get to a place where it's not about anxiety? Maybe one of the most important lessons I've learned in my life, other than all the ex-wives I've got, each of them taught me a couple of lessons, I think, came from the Māori people from New Zealand. I don't know, who of you has heard of restorative practices before? I see you nodding, yes, okay. I don't know if you people know what it is based on, what was the original premise. Do you have a clue? So the reason it started was because the Māori people went to the New Zealand government and said, what you're doing with your Western system isn't working for us. All of our young people are landing up in prison. And you're punishing them and doing whatever you want. And it's not making the system better, it's making it worse. So allow us the opportunity to deal with delinquency in our own way. And the government agreed. They gave them, I can't remember how long, I think it was 5 years or something. And it was such a success that they changed the law in New Zealand that all youth would now be treated in this way. Wow. Okay, so it's a different way. The basis of the difference is our Western society does a lot of its thinking and working on the basis of punishment. In other words, who is guilty? Guilt, punishment, consequence. That doesn't work. Why? Because if you stand in front of a judge, what's your relationship with that judge? Do you know him personally or her? So if this person's going to tell you, well, you're guilty, what are you thinking internally? Well, I don't know you. So what's the effect? It's working actually counterproductively. And they say the most beautiful emotion that we have on this planet is shame. Oh, wow. I don't know who... Has anyone other than me ever felt ashamed? All of us? And it feels good, doesn't it? No. Okay. To illustrate their point, I'll ask you another question. And I'm going to turn it around. Imagine a society that was absolutely shameless. Yeah, go past the first pictures of nude people walking around. What would it really mean, a shameless society? Think about it. Who would you need to take into account in a shameless society? Anybody?
All of us, to be honest. We're all exploiting the earth.
But you understand what I'm saying? In a shameless society, you don't have to care about what anybody thinks, let alone the earth. So it would be a total chaos.
What about those that have power to harm you?
Sorry?
What about those that have, in a shameless society, shame is a sort of almost a moral type thing, whereas actual sort of physical harm or hurt can still hurt you. It's almost that animalistic piece. You've got no shame.
Sure, if you've got no
You're
shame.
still afraid of the predator out there.
There could be. My point is really that if you have a shameless society, your society falls apart.
Yeah, I agree.
You have a chaotic society. And this is exactly what the Māori people were teaching. They said, shame is the fibre of our society. Shame ensures that we take each other into account in what we do. So it's actually looking at shame from a positive point of view. And this is where this restorative approach comes in. They say, how can we ensure that when something happens, that person isn't punished and excluded for what they've done, but is included in the society and is offered a way to repair. And it's not so much about the material damage, it's about repairing the relational damage that has occurred. And then we come back to the planet. What is our relationship with the planet? What have we done to our planet? And I'm not talking about us personally, but us collectively.
It's a lot of guilt.
Hmm?
It's a lot of guilt.
I don't believe we should go the guilt way. I believe we should go the shame way.
No, people feel guilty.
Mm-hmm. The guilt isn't going to solve our problems, in my perspective. I think we need to shift into this whole idea of how do we change our attitude from punitive into restorative.
Can I ask one thing? Because maybe I'm not, but like the opposite of shame to me is like care or kindness. Why is it the focus on shame rather than care?
Well, I'm saying that shame is care.
Okay.
So I'm saying that every emotion we have, this is another argument I often have, it's not only with C-suite, but also with lots of leaders. I say there's no such thing as a bad emotion. There's no such thing as good emotions and bad emotions. And they're all, okay, imagine you did not experience any anxiety whatsoever. Would that be healthy? I don't think so. It means anybody can do exactly what they want with you. That's not healthy.
But I want to explore what she said, because
Yeah.
so I don't think we're defining shame correctly then, right?
Exactly.
Because if the opposite of guilt is caring and giving back, which are we thinking of shame the right way?
I think the difference between shame and guilt is that shame is far more focused on the relationship we have. And I believe if we can focus on the relationship we have with this earth we live on, let's be honest, without the earth, where are we?
That touches nicely with what Kay was talking about with nature as well. So do you think that the shame, or we move into guilt because we're actually disconnected